Did you know that 1 in 3 women experience birth trauma and are often misdiagnosed for postnatal depression? So interesting, so let's talk about it. Today we are doing a get ready with me, and so first we're going to do my nails. Go ahead, just go ahead, ask me, how has your week been, crew? This is what I'll say to you. So the reason why I'm doing a get ready with me is because this mama is going out today with other mamas, and we've made a pact not to talk about our babies. So let's see how that goes. The baby hairs. I'm literally just using Aussie Instant Freeze gel and a toothbrush. Not the one that I use for my teeth, obviously. This is my haven't put much effort into my hair kind of look, but these times it took kind of long. This is the finished look. You can just call me a beauty guru at this point. Yeah, let's go to the desk and let's have a chat. I need to kind of like leave ASAP, but no, I'm here chatting to you guys. You see the commitment? Do you see the commitment? I think you should subscribe for that commitment. So welcome to this channel. My name is Krupa and I make faith-based content here on YouTube. So if you're new here and you like the sound of faith-based content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join the tribe. And if you're a returning friend, hello and welcome as always. So today we are talking about birth trauma and all that you need to know. Also, just a side little note, it's raining here in Ghana, so that's why it's a little bit grainy, a little bit dark in our room, but that's okay. It just makes it all the more cozier for our chat today, doesn't it? I'm gonna just do my eyeliner. So today's video, we are gonna discuss what birth trauma is, what it looked like for me, and some of the ways that I was able to use self-care to help soothe and heal from the birth trauma. Yeah, they say to start as you mean to go on, right, with anything, and I think the same applies to motherhood. The reason why I make this video is because it's so important to, in my opinion anyway, I feel like it's so important to bring awareness to certain experiences that mothers have. Too often than not, we see such amazing experiences online of how the mother was so in love with the child and how, I don't know, everything was just so perfect. And actually, in so many people's lives, that is not what birth looked like, you know. Just a note though, this is my journey. Your journey will look different, of course, we're all different. And so if you do need professional support and professional help, medical help, then by all means go for it. I just didn't feel like I wanted to dive into that and see whether I can just deal with it on my own. And the healing journey isn't an overnight fix. It takes work, it takes commitment. It's called a journey, right? It takes time. And so just wanted to put that one out there. So let's begin with what is birth trauma. So according to Birth Trauma Association, this is what they say. Birth trauma is a shorthand phrase for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after childbirth. So PTSD was first identified amongst soldiers returning from the Vietnam War, and most people still think of it as a condition experienced by soldiers. But in fact, PTSD can follow any traumatic event, such as being in a car accident, being sexually abused, or having a very difficult birth. So that's what they say, okay? In most cases, what makes birth traumatic is a fear that you or the child are going to die. So how did I know that I was dealing with birth trauma? One of the first signs, and I talk about this in my other episode, I believe it's called Negative Thoughts, and I do go into it a lot more there, so I'll leave a card up here for you to just have a look at your leisure. One of the early signs of me recognizing that there was something up with me is that I was so angry all the time. Like I would all of a sudden have such an outburst of rage. It just started to look really ugly in our marriage and my journey of motherhood, and I knew that something was up. So another way that I could tell that I was dealing with something deeply rooted or something that I just needed to address was that I could not speak about my birth or my labor. I would avoid that conversation like hot fire. Like any conversation that I would have, I would either tear up or I would have resentment, and I knew that something so beautiful, it shouldn't make me so anxious, right? And so I thought, okay, this is definitely another telltale sign. Another big telltale sign that I was dealing with something like birth trauma was that anytime that I'll be left with Zuri, oh my gosh, I'll feel so anxious. Even though it was like pretty much simple at that stage in their life, like they don't really need much entertaining. They need like cuddles and nappy changing and making sure that the temperature of the room is lovely and they're fed. It's not like she needed much, but I felt so anxious that I just could not care for her, or that I wouldn't know what to do if she cried. And apparently those thoughts are normal, but actually if it's got so much anxiety attached to it, I had to just question whether, you know, I was okay or not. Another thing was intrusive thoughts. Again, I've spoken about it in my negative thoughts video, so I'll attach it here for you guys. But intrusive thoughts were huge at that time, and it was just so unsettling, and so I knew that was another telltale sign. So let's move on to how I use some self-care practices to heal from birth trauma. For the most part, I think that I'm enjoying the journey of motherhood and I'm falling into my purpose with being a mum, right? I don't have anxiety about it anymore. I feel like I can talk about my birth experience without feeling anxious or cold sweats or triggered. And so, yes, I have come a long way. I'm not saying that I'm completely healed, but these practices were very helpful to just get to grips with how I was feeling, right? So first things first is that I came to acknowledge that I was dealing with something. I think the most powerful thing that we can do is to acknowledge that, okay, there's something up and I need it to be fixed. So dealing with such emotions and feelings can feel quite out of body experience. And what I mean by that is that you start to really question who you are. Being able to identify that this is what I was dealing with and this is what I am dealing with helped me to put a description to what I was going through, which made it then feel like it wasn't permanent and that it was just a season or a tunnel that I'm passing through. And so that's why I would say that that's probably one of the most important things you can do, is to identify that that's something that you're dealing with. I'm gonna do my eyebrows now, and obviously I love this pencil, clearly, because it's like smaller than my pinky. So the second thing is to find out what was triggering me. And this is where I mention my beloved journal. I feel like I mention it in every video, and I'm probably not going to stop because it's such a huge part of my life. Battery obviously died and I continued with my makeup. But where were we? I kept a journal by my side and I was recording what was triggering me. So the things that were triggering me will be like giving reason as to why I'm doing things one way and not the other. The expectation that was placed upon me of being a good mom or being a good wife. Another thing that was on my trigger list was that actually seeing Instagram posts of like really happy moments between moms and babies, because I just felt like I couldn't quite relate to that feeling of ecstatic love. Like I just didn't have it at that time. And another thing that was really triggering is my phone ringing. My phone ringing was the worst for me, I believe, out of all those. The reason why it was so helpful to keep an account of what was triggering me was that it helped me almost to build that connection between how I was feeling and what I was facing, and to be able to even relay that to the people around me to ensure that they understood what my trigger points was at that time. And that brings me to my next point: having a safe space or safe person to go to. My bedroom, as much as it was a place where I would rest, it was not a safe space for me, because I would go into my bedroom and Zoe was sleeping there at the time. And so we had a station for her bottles, we had a station for her caddy with her nappies in it, had a station for my breast pump, had a station for her clothes, and everything in that room just reminded me of that anxiety around motherhood and that anxiety around like birth experience and things that are unaddressed. And I just want to know, it's not that I didn't love being a mother. I love being a mother and I love my child so much. However, just my nervous system responding to the birth trauma was a lot for me at the time. I think it's so important, if you are dealing with PTSD from your birth experience, to know what is safe for you and what you like and what is familiar to you and what is comforting to you, to be able to just have those pockets of comfort throughout the day, right? This leads me perfectly to the next point, and that is finding what is familiar to you. So anything that was helpful for me to connect with the person that I was before the birth trauma was so helpful. And what I mean by that is that after birth, you're almost diving into the role of motherhood and trying to navigate what that looks like in your life, right? So dealing with birth trauma whilst you're learning this new role can somewhat be overwhelming. And so finding things that were familiar to me pre-birth was so important, just to make that, again, connection between like, this is not permanent, this is a tunnel that I'm passing, and this is how I look to end up on the other side of that. So just to round up that point, finding what was familiar to me or what was comforting to me helped me to see that I'm not this person that I'm currently am. I'm not gonna forever live life on the edge. I'm not gonna forever live life so triggered. I'm not gonna forever live life so anxious, right? And so those familiar things like familiar people, familiar foods, familiar smells was just so nostalgic for me, and that helped me to bring home some truth that this is not permanent, that this will pass. So before I go into my next point, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps this channel out, and it also helps me know that you're enjoying this content. So go ahead and do that, and let's get back into it. Number 5, and this is going to sound cliche, and that was prayer. I know this is obvious, but the reason why prayer was so important for me at that time was that it really did feel like an out-of-body experience. Like, it didn't feel like I was purposed to now go into motherhood feeling this amount of anxiety or this amount of being triggered or this amount of anger. Being able to birth a child, for me to be able to be a mother, was a blessing. I was supposed to be grateful. I was supposed to be really enjoying this journey and this ride of motherhood, right? But that wasn't reflected in my reality. And so prayer just helped me to be grounded in the truth that actually I am purposed for this and I'm dealing with something, hence why my reality looks the way it does. But it is not permanent. And that was really helpful for me. I had to constantly commit the role of motherhood to the Father and to say like, okay, this is what I'm purposed to be and this is what I want motherhood to look like. And actually in prayer, I was able to find certain strategies and certain practices that I can introduce into my life and implement into my life to be able to tackle what it was that I was going through. So that will be my findings. Hope that you're going to take some of the things away with you today. If you are, let me know in the comment section down below what it is that you're going to start implementing in your day-to-day lives. And if you are a new mama on the block, or you're about to be a new mama on the block, make sure you check out the other episodes in my new baby mama series that we have officially ended today. The 4th episode is this one that you're watching, and so I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in the next video.